Welcome back to another episode of the Mind If I Crash podcast. We've been hitting you every other week back to back, but last week, true apologies, our guest didn't show up. We had a no call, no show, and you know how that goes. Tommy and I tried to improvise, put something together last minute. We did put something together, pretty worthy to the audience's ears, but we were not recording on the film side, so we're going to hold on to that, archive it, maybe give you a bonus episode at the end of the season. With that being said, guys, welcome to today's episode of Season 4, Episode 2. My guest coming from the Burnett's Wrestling, correct? He wrestled for Burnett's, then went on to Elyria to still wrestle for Burnett's.
Yep.
Quite the journey, quite the experience, a good friend of mine, still to this day. 10 years of friendship right here, and probably 20 with the guy behind the camera. So without anything else from me, Mr. Matt Canon, how are you?
Good. Thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming on. Always supporting the show, and you're probably one of the most well-qualified guests to be on here. So
Thank you.
What's been new? How's everything been?
Pretty busy, man. You know, getting engaged and dealing with wedding stuff.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you. But besides that, man, just working.
Yeah.
Living life.
So what goes into it? Because that's one thing I told you, that stresses me out, thinking about planning a wedding. What's been the funnest and what's been the hardest part?
I can't say funnest anything, because the bachelor party hasn't happened. But,
Fair enough.
Stressful about everything, really. You know, picking your caterer, your DJ, your photographer. You know, stuff adds up, and you're just like, damn.
That is what stresses me out,
Yeah.
is because it's like one of those things alone costs so much. It's like a DJ, you're talking thousands most of the time,
yeah.
like maybe $2,000, maybe more, I don't know. And like that alone would just be too much for me. So it's like, where do you find like this balance? Do you pick and choose? It's so hard.
Dude, and the worst part about it is like you want to be like, oh, let's go with the cheapest one, you know?
Yeah.
But then you're like,
You get what you pay
shit.
for?
Yeah, like you might get some photographer that just picked up like an old camera. I was like, oh, I can shoot photos now.
Yeah. Yep. And that's a
everyone's doing
fact,
it.
bro.
I was like, oh shit.
Everyone wants to be a photographer. And I mean, dude, even the episode for reference point back with Max McCarty, you know, he's such a good dude that he would not say anything bad about like people just picking up a camera and saying like, I'm a photographer.
Oh yeah.
But it 100% is a real thing. Like people are putting out terrible quality and charging real photographer prices.
I mean, it's crazy too, because I forget who we went with, but it's like $2,000. And I'm like, man, can we just take iPhones and like take pictures? Like hire someone just to be there?
You can hire me for free to walk around with the iPhone. I got you.
But we appreciate it, you know, everyone that's, you know, gonna be a part of our wedding and stuff. But
it's a special, I mean, obviously it's a special day. It's one of the biggest days in your life. And yeah, I mean, that's what you want at the end of the day. The ones you love.
Yes. I mean, to me, just trying to make the family happy, and of course April.
Yeah.
Because it's about her pretty much that day, and I'm just there just to look good.
Yeah.
So.
And 100% cry when she starts to walk out. That's like a thing.
Man.
You like
said
almost
something
have
about
to.
That too. She was like, "Are you gonna cry when I walk down the aisle?" I was like, "I don't know. Am I supposed to?" Like,
I can mace you moments prior. I'll just run up from the back stands, military style. I got you, dog.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
My
That
dude
helped me out
would be-
tremendously. She's like, "Stop crying. We gotta kiss now."
Yeah.
I can't. I'm so happy.
She's like, "Why do you smell like pepper?" Jesus Christ! It's early in the morning, guys. He had a golf outing yesterday. I had a podcast I was on. Be easy with us. How was the golf outing?
Dude, it was a bunch of fun. I mean, went with Max McCarty and CJ Bazinski. You know,
Shout out to those boys. Absolutely.
Great time.
And what was it for? Was it for the hockey team?
Yeah, the Amherst hockey.
Okay.
Yep. It was I think a benefit for them, so all the money went towards them, I think.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of people. I mean, each hole had like 12 guys on it.
Damn.
It was huge.
Okay, so that's a great turnout.
Yeah.
And for anyone listening, information on Amherst hockey, they actually took away the hockey team due to lack of funding. It's technically treated as a club sport in Amherst, and they lost the team for a few years. It was maybe my senior year and about 3 years after, and then eventually was brought back. But that's a huge window of opportunity. I mean, even for, your family, your girl, her dad, her brother. It's such a big window of opportunity for people to go on to the next level. It's like you almost have to make that available for people.
Oh, absolutely.
I think it should be treated as a a school sport. It's just pay to play. It's already funded. But I never understood why that was treated as a club sport.
I think Elyria is like that though too. They don't have a hockey team. It's a club hockey team.
That's even crazier because that's where everyone plays.
Yeah.
They use Elyria's rink. It's like you think of all the schools, they would have one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we haven't
Never.
had one ever.
Never. It's always been the ice rink.
Yeah.
That's where it was held.
But everyone also is pay to play though too. Isn't it Amherst like all pay to play?
Is that how Elyria is?
No.
What? You can just play for free?
Yeah.
Oh, hell no.
My
Yeah,
senior
dude, it's
year,
been
they were
like
talking
that
about it
since
to make
7th
it.
grade.
No way.
$400. Yeah,
See, that's unreal. I feel like you go to a public school, you should be able to just play for free.
exactly.
That's what it's about, is getting the experience.
I was the first generation to have to go all the way through paying to play all years. And it was definitely manageable because I was the only one of my siblings old enough to actually have to do that. But now they're all, Kane is in 7th grade playing football, pay to play. Gavin and Liam are both in high school, soccer, pay to play. And it's like, you can play all the sports year round just for that 400. But what if you're only doing one sport,
Yeah, you're kind of not getting your money's worth done.
It is kind of fucked, but whatever, apparently Amherst doesn't want to pay for shit, so
Yeah.
I give it to him. On the topic of school sports, though, you are a well-accomplished, well-seasoned wrestler.
Pretty decent.
In the eyes of many, I would say. And with that, I want to kind of start at the beginning. One, where did you find wrestling, and did you love it from the beginning?
Not really, honestly.
I respect the honesty.
I was, 7th grade, and I went out for basketball. And Mr. Bloomfield, shout out to you, because you're the one who got me into wrestling. You were like, you're too short. You're not going to work out.
Was he the basketball coach?
Yeah.
Damn.
He was every coach.
Yeah, he was.
Oh, really?
Yeah, football, basketball, you name it. But he told me, he's like, you're too short. Here's Mr. Perkins. You should try out for wrestling. You'd be perfect. And then from there, it was just all uphill, except for the first season, because I think I got my ass beat pretty much every single time.
Learning the ropes, though.
Oh yeah.
So, dude, I'm cracking up that this dude was the coach for every sport.
Dude, he loved it. I
He's
mean,
a legend.
yeah,
And he's a social studies teacher.
Good. It's only right that he is.
dude, he retired.
I know, now he sells plants at the flea market.
Does he?
I swear.
I'm gonna go
Good
buy
shit.
a plant from him just to
Good
give him some
shit.
income.
So, when did you get introduced to Burnett? When did that come in?
That was like 7th and 8th grade. He would come to each junior high and do a practice to show us some things.
Yeah.
But I got linked up with him because Jimmy Macker and Rick Weber, they were so good in junior high that they would go up to the high school and practice with them.
Damn, you
So-
got to be a pit bull to do that shit.
Yeah, and I was like, man, these guys, they're pretty good.
Mhm.
I should jump on that train.
Were they biddy wrestlers too?
I
Like-
think they both were, yeah.
Okay.
So they knew him for a long time, and then I went up to a practice with them the one day, and I was like, damn, this is hard.
Hmm.
I like the junior high practice better.
Yeah,
You
exactly.
get water breaks. I mean, you'd get a water break. Not saying that we didn't get water breaks up there, but it was so hot in that room, and those kids were so much better than any other kid that I've wrestled.
Well, those are grown ass men too, dog.
Oh yeah,
Those are grown men compared to where you're at.
for sure. I mean, but I met a lot of good people through that, though. From different schools, Keystone and Midview and all that, and it opened up a lot of doors.
Absolutely, I'm sure it did.
But Burnett, I got really linked up with him 8th grade going into 9th because I was in lifting for football because I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be a football player. You know? Again, Jack Gillespie comes in and he's like, what are you doing? I was like, lifting weights. And he's like, yeah, you're too small. Let's come wrestle.
Damn, bro.
But no, it was the truth because then I was in the room messing around, it was before lifting that day, and I was just messing around in the wrestling room and I was doing backflips and stuff, and he was just like, nope. He was like, you're not playing football. Come on, come this way. And I was like, all right. So I just dropped football and started doing freestyle practices and.
Which is fun. I mean, that will make you love the sport.
Dude, that was my bread and butter.
Yes.
I loved freestyle. If I could do that over, folks out of the regular season stuff, any day of the week.
Dude, I didn't really understand freestyle, and I used to go to Connor Kamchek like when we were young, to all of his club matches, and I just remember like his mom basically like trying to explain it to me before this like match, and I just remember like he got picked up, and the dude just had him on his shoulder and just kind of walked around in a circle, and then just took him down, and I was like, this is like some WWE shit. What? For anyone that doesn't know, explain the difference between like the freestyle. You don't even have to go like Greco-Roman and all that, but like freestyle wrestling to what you would see in season come wintertime.
So like the main difference is like one, in like regular season, if you go to pick somebody up and like throw them, you're instantly going to get hit with a caution or like a slam, and a lot of people, they get slammed, they're like babies and they just pretend to be dead on the floor so they get the win. I've seen that in the state, or some dude did that in the semis at state.
Because if you don't get back up, the match will get called, right?
Yeah, and then you move on.
Exactly.
But so you can lock your hands and you can throw people. And my favorite part, which this is gonna sound pretty bad. So if you get taken down in freestyle, you get like 15 seconds to like turn a guy, and if you don't, like they just bring you back up to your feet. So I take that 15 seconds. Like if I got taken down. Just a nice little break.
Yeah,
just
get your bearings straight.
Yeah,
that's not bad.
But that's really the main, difference. Like, there's a push-out rule too. So if you're on the edge of the mat, and in folk style, if you get pushed out, it's no big deal. You're just out of bounds. But if you're in freestyle and they push you out, it's a point for them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a cheat way. I mean,
dude, that's an easy way. Just start teching fools from fucking
I
pushing them out.
I would get them towards the edge of the mat, and then I would literally just like take their arms and pull them out. Just like turn my body and pull them out and get a quick point. It was so easy.
I remember with one of your matches, you launched somebody, like suplexed them. It was one of your freestyle matches. You just launched them backwards.
Yeah,
it was like,
dude, it was so much fun doing that. I still do that to the kids up at the high school because I still help coach.
Well, yeah, you stay very active up there.
Dude, I love it.
Yeah,
those kids. I mean, there's a couple of kids that are really good, and I have trouble with because I'm getting older now. But it's so much fun because you're like, oh man, I'm still super good. But you gotta remember, these kids aren't, didn't go to college and wrestle for a little bit and don't have that background. They're still learning. So you're thinking you're pretty tough still, but then you get a college guy that comes home and you're like, oh shit, I don't really want to go with this guy. He's gonna whoop my ass. But,
and that's I mean, honestly, that if anything is a staple of Elyria wrestling, it is the athletes that are bred from that program.
It's insane how many people are.
You couldn't even count on two hands how many athletes have just seen success in the high school level and also went on to do other things, go on to the next level. It's truly amazing that you got someone like Ben Darmstadt, wrestling alongside Kyle Dake, an Olympian wrestler who just beat Jordan. How does that take you from just a kid at Biddy Wrestling in Elyria, Ohio, to wrestling with an Olympian?
Dude, it's insane to think about that because my senior year, Ben was a freshman after my senior year.
Yeah.
But coming in, Ben was, he's tall, dude.
Mm-hmm.
He cut down to 120 pounds. I'm like, oh my God. But
crazy.
He still made it to state. And then next year he bumps up. He goes from 120 to 152. I'm like, oh, man, I don't know how that's going to work. I ended up taking second in the state. But dude's been just a freak his whole life.
Freak of nature.
Super good kid. And, his skill set is just always developing. He works with some of the top guys. And, as a true freshman, I think in college, he All-American. Which is
that's insane. I didn't know that. So that I did not know. Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
Oh yeah, and now I think, not 100% on this, but he's one of the top coming into this year, 197 or 182 pounders in the country.
Is this a senior year or no?
I want to say it'd be his junior because Cornell is weird. So when COVID and stuff happened, I don't think they got the extra year eligibility like everybody else.
I think CJ was kind of explaining that to me because I was talking about Kyle Dake with him, and I want to say it is a little different there.
Yeah, because if Ivy League schools didn't let their sports play, So if you're in class, that still counts as your.
That's a year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think if you don't want to like play your sport, or if you're not playing your sport, you have to like drop out.
I think he went to a whole different school. I'm pretty sure. Sure that's what CJ was saying. Is like he went to a different school just for that semester.
Mm-hmm.
Or whatever it is, so it didn't fuck with his eligibility.
Yeah, but that's a big thing with Ivy League. Like, that's crazy. You know, like, Kent State and, you know, like, Pitt, because we have a couple of guys there, is that they got the extra year.
And that's just considered, what, a red shirt? Or...
No, it was just like a free year.
Wow.
There's a dude, I forget his name, Edelman or something like that from Iowa.
Mm-hmm.
He was at Missouri. He transferred. COVID happened. So he's a 4-time All-American. And
Jesus.
Still can wrestle one more year because he got a free year.
Yeah, that's balls, dude. That's crazy.
Weird.
Mm-hmm.
But think about this. You have that year eligibility, right? Do you have to attend classes?
Yeah.
It's still no one knows. Well, maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I would say I guess I would say yeah, but yeah, that is wild.
Dude, if I had that option, like, hey, your eligibility, you don't got to go to class. I'll train all year round for that.
Yeah, fast and just be in freak show shape.
Yeah, dude.
Oh,
I'll be taking a woman's study.
There you go. You know, it truly is amazing. It just the subtle nods that Darmstadt's received. You know, I don't know if I brought this up to you, but I'm pretty sure I brought it up on the podcast. You know, Ben Askren, leading up to his fight with Jake Paul, was on Logan Paul's podcast, the Impulsive podcast. Did you ever listen to that episode?
I think I caught a little snip of it. I seen the one where he posted on his Instagram.
Okay. Talking about...
No, where he posted Ben Darmstadt whooping...
Oh, yeah. Jake Paul's.
Ass, yeah.
Yeah, so he ends up addressing it, and it just shows you how knowledgeable wrestlers are in the sport overall. Like, everyone knows everyone. And like you said, like, you met friends from all over that opened up opportunities. So it just shows, like, how connected everything is. And he's just talking about, like, Ben Darmstadt, Burnett, Elyria Wrestling. Yeah. And it's like, he even was talking about, who's the coach at Westlake?
I'm not sure anymore. I don't know if it's the same guy.
Who, do you remember who it was?
I don't know his name, no.
I want to say it was, like, Parrish or something. Whoever it was Logan's coach. Even he knew him. Even Ben Askren knew him. And he was like, this is weird that you know this. And he's like, well, Ben Darmstadt used to come to my camps. And he was like, so I know a lot about Ohio in particular because of Ben. And I'm like, you just said Ben Darmstadt's name on one of the biggest podcasts in the fucking world.
Isn't that crazy? Insane
to me. It was absolutely insane. And like mentioned Elyria and Burnett. It was just the craziest shit. I was just like, wow, this shows you the hold that school has.
Oh, yeah.
In the world of wrestling.
Dude, you meet so many, like I was talking about, like meeting people. So I want to say my junior year or sophomore year, we went out to St. Ignatius, right? And we got invited out there because Henry Cejudo came in and did a camp. And he was like, yo, you guys are one of the top programs, like, let's have you in. And it was like...
Cejudo himself?
Yeah.
Wow.
And so it was like us, St. Ignatius, I think St. Ed's, like, the top schools were in there practicing. And he was, like, showing us new stuff. Like, he gave us a big Olympian poster signed by him and everything.
That's fucking sweet.
Dude, it was raw.
Cejudo in the Olympics. Dude, he was just a kid. What was he, 18 maybe? Maybe even younger.
I think he was 18 or 19. He's like one of the younger ones.
Yeah.
And it's just the youngest, so Snyder was the youngest to win it.
And how old?
He was 19.
19?
So he might have even been 20 because he was training out of Iowa.
Dude, talk about a great program.
Dude, that program
Iowa's insane. Dude, I don't even want to get off on that subject. When we take a break, I'll bring it up because then we'll have talking points. But the freshman year, that's when you started freestyle, correct?
8th grade going into freshman, which was a big stepping stone for me because I was like kind of new to, you know, the big time wrestling, and I was the smallest guy. Like there were a couple of guys that were under me, but I was just the best fit for the weight class. So I was 106 pounds or 103, and so my freshman year I was varsity, and that was like,
that's sweet.
It was big, you know. Like there was times like back in the day where Eric would be like, oh, okay, freshman, you can leave. I'm like packing my bag, and he's like, oh,
now you can.
Where are you going? And I'm like, you said freshman. He's like, you're not a freshman. Get back in the room. I'm like, damn it, because those practices you get done.
Dude, they're probably grueling.
Dude, Yeah, the freshman year practices were like some of the toughest because Eric was still pretty young, and he was just ruthless.
Taking it to y'all.
Yeah, in a great way.
Yeah.
But I mean, some of my best memories were from freshman year.
That's awesome.
Watching the brutal fights, like good fights, like those are your brothers, and sometimes you guys just don't get along, and you just duke it out. I've seen people break down and cry. I've seen blood. I mean, everything, and you're just like, dude, this is real.
I've never seen people train as hard as wrestlers, but to be particular, Elyria wrestlers. Dude. I've never seen something quite like it.
It gets to a point, if it wasn't for the surrounding cast of like Elyria wrestling, like the coaches, the parents, all that, it would be tough.
I'm sure of that.
They even to this day, if you got to go cut weight in the middle of the night, you got people there. You just pick up the phone.
Yeah.
And they're there. I mean, it's insane. So, I mean, Elyria wrestling to me is like the definition of what like a big family is. Like, we're all family and everything, but that kind of culture, you could call anybody, and it doesn't matter how long you haven't talked to them, you guys are going to pick right back up.
They got you.
Yeah, always.
And that's a brotherhood you cannot. And it's honestly like, I never knew that like basketball and football were like, no. Like as a kid, that's gotta be hard. Like to be like, no, and then maybe question like, why don't I belong, or why am I not being accepted? And then to just be like thrown into a role where like you're a freshman wrestling varsity on one of the biggest fucking teams in the state. It's like, did you even process like, was it hard for you to not be accepted by the other sports, or did it not even matter once you got this role?
No, I mean, it wasn't necessarily the varsity spot that like made me like okay with everything. But
solidified it.
I was kind of friends with everybody, but we never really paid attention to what was going on outside of our realm because we were so focused on a goal.
Yeah.
Win a state championship as a team. Even though the years that I was in school, we didn't have like we were a tight knit family, but the way that Elyria wrestling has progressed, and even your kids that aren't necessarily a varsity spot, they're still a part of the group.
Right.
You know what I mean? They all hang out. It's weird. Back when I was in school, you had your varsity and you guys all kind of hung out, and then everyone kind of had their own little groups, but now it's just one big group. So,
JV, varsity, everything.
Yeah. So, but you didn't even like think about other sports because, I mean, back then our football team was okay, our basketball team was okay.
Yeah. But
we were always going to state.
You guys were a powerhouse. I mean, there was nothing quite like it. That's for sure.
I mean, still to this day, you got, I want to say we finished at least top 5 last year.
Yeah.
I mean, every year we're up in at least top 10, top 3 sometimes.
Always see that newspaper article come out, you know? Yeah. And even afterwards, like, so are Darmstadt and JT the same age?
Yeah, they're actually...
Brown?
Last year, no, before COVID. Yeah, the year of COVID, they were in the same weight class.
Okay.
They had to wrestle each other.
Wow.
At conference to go to NCAAs.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was crazy to watch. Like, they've wrestled their whole lives together.
They're brothers.
Yeah.
Those guys are brothers.
Yeah, and then literally having to compete against each other in a real match. Like, it's tough. It's really tough.
I couldn't imagine. Yo, I will give a nod, though. I don't know if you follow Jack's Instagram account, but his school puts out the most hype fucking training videos of all time. He's always on there too, and dude, he's just an animal. Well, dude, the boy's a unit, dude. You know? Oh my God. He's insane. Holy shit, is he a specimen? Like, wow. I stan Jack Brown. Oh yeah, 100%.
Dude, he had a good run at Elyria. He like first coming in, I was like, he's gonna be good. And then he started putting things together, and him and Ben were always working extra and doing stuff. I'm like, oh yeah, this kid is a tank. And honestly, the kid has overcome tremendous obstacles in life, and it shows. It shows in his work ethic, his determination, his approach to life in general. It's amazing what Jack Brown's been able to do with himself. Yeah, absolutely. Take himself in life. Dude's used the things that have happened to him in life and use it, to help himself and get where he's at. I mean, like you said, dude is amazing. He works harder than anybody I know. Yeah. Anybody. I mean, something you don't find anymore.
And that comes deep within.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that shit is not taught. It's in you. That lives in you. It's crazy. So a lot of potential there. Guys, we are going to take a really quick break, and we're going to get right back into things. And we are back, folks, after a quick break. So, back onto the topic of wrestling. You familiar with the Foxcatcher story?
Yeah,
The Schultz brothers?
I watched the movie. The assistant coach at Elyria knows about it a little bit more because he was actually, I think, in college when that happened.
Same. My dad, that's how I know about it, too.
Okay, yeah.
Fucking crazy story.
Dude, that's insane.
Iowa? Was that Iowa? Were they from Iowa? I mean, obviously they were training for the Olympics, but were they from Iowa?
I'm not sure where they actually were from, to be honest with you.
That's something I'll need to find out. Because the movie's cool. I thought it was funny they had Channing Tatum.
Yeah, that's...
Did fucking great in it.
Oh, yeah. I didn't see him playing that part, but
no.
yeah.
And yeah, I get it. Like, he's definitely the Chad of actors. Combat sports movies, wrestling movies. You got any top picks, any favorites?
Never Back Down's always a good movie.
Never Back Down is fire. On Netflix now, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, that's how I watched it.
Tommy watched it not too long ago. That's dude, that's like an always get you hype movie.
Absolutely.
Music is fire. Fight scenes are good. You know what my all-time favorite is Warrior with Tom Hardy.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And that's the one where he fucking dislocates his brother dislocates his shoulder. And he's like still squared up in the third round with just one fucking arm up. And I'm like, Jesus Christ. Like if this was real, this would be chaotic.
Oh, yeah.
This would be insane. And it was like a steamer, you know? Like it was a good event, but like definitely on some underground shit.
What about Boyka?
What is it?
You ever watch Undisputed Boyka?
No.
The fighter from Russia.
We can't hear you, Tommy. Just no.
No, I'm asking you.
Oh no.
No, okay, never mind.
No. But we'll talk about it. Yeah, I'll watch it. I love them. So you guys want to know something that like I've kind of gotten into is like more so like the documentaries. So like there's a Foxcatcher documentary that's really fucking good.
Oh really?
Yeah, really good. And I want to say there's like a 30 for 30 on Iowa wrestling as well, which was a powerhouse for collegiate wrestling.
I believe they still are.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure they
just
are.
won it last year.
Did they?
Oh yeah.
I've really stopped following, but you're familiar with Brandenburgs, correct?
Oh,
Sheldon, yeah. Clayton.
Yeah.
I learned a lot. It was like information overload when I met Clayton and realized like Wadsworth is also a public school that is fucking talented with like mad talent with wrestlers. And I feel like they've always given the nod to Elyria, and it's been like a mutual respect because it's hard to find public schools that are even able to compete with schools like St. Ed's or Ignatius, let alone beat them.
Right, yeah.
It's crazy.
We've had good relationships with Wadsworth for as long as I've known Elyria wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I met those guys through wrestling and camps at Eric's, and it's just like the brotherhood that we were talking about. It's that public school thing. It's always nice to have that like one, not rival school, but like a sibling school.
Right.
That you're like, all right.
They're doing the same shit.
We're good. We can go practice with these guys and get better.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to go kick St. Ed's ass.
Yes.
Because the St. Ed's is always like top dog,
Private school.
Dude, yeah. Some of the best guys, though. Like, the funniest part, though, we've had, not we in general, but there's been kids that have lived in Elyria that were state champs for St. Ed's.
That's wild.
I know. Mark Martin. He was one of them.
Was he your age?
I want to say he was my age or a year older than me.
Okay. So you wrestled with him. You saw him.
Yeah, all the time.
Yeah.
He was at the barn out in LaGrange all the time.
That's so crazy.
Insane. The people that could have came to Elyria, just being known with Burnett Wrestling, Elyria would have been, it's on the map.
Yeah, and I already feel like people like Darmstadt, Brown, Connor Kamchek all left Amherst to go to Elyria for high school.
Oh,
Devin Price, they all left.
Yeah.
And that alone shows you, like, You're not going on a scholarship. This isn't a private school. You're just going because you want to be a part of something bigger than you.
Dude, it's crazy. So I don't know how accurate it is, but there was a point where that kid from Iowa, Spencer Lee, the nation's top guy right now, he could have came to Elyria.
Really?
Yeah.
Is he from Ohio?
Yeah.
Where?
I don't know exactly where. But
Okay.
He trained with Eric since he was little. Still does.
Wow.
He'll still come back for camps and like show stuff and like wrestle with our kids that are in college.
You got to be a fucking absolute beast.
Dude.
To just, jeez.
I mean, that's like some of the training partners I had though, like coming up, freshman, sophomore year.
Mhm.
Logan Stever, Hunter Stever, Cam Basari, like, dude, those dudes were badass. Like, still
Yeah.
are.
And just
Logan
taking
was a world
shit to
champ.
you.
Oh, dude, I was like a little rag doll, just throwing me around the room. I was just like, oh my god, this is my hero.
Yeah.
And then I'm getting my ass kicked by him. I'm like, did I learn anything today? Nope, I was on my back.
Yeah. And that, honestly, like, that's a good thing to kind of see, like, what did this sport teach me in life? You know, like, do you have any major takeaways? Like, I learned this from the sport of wrestling, and I owe it to wrestling for this. Like, do you have anything like that?
Yeah, absolutely. Discipline is a big one.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta be super disciplined to, go home after practice and know that you're, 0.2 over. You gotta do that little bit extra work at home.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you gotta think like, okay, if I do this, I can have a small meal and not push my luck and not be a pig and go in the fridge and be like, oh, I'm just gonna be 8 pounds over tomorrow. I'll get it off.
Yeah.
And then same thing with, the hard work, dude. I work hard every day, and I owe it all to wrestling, and to the coaches themselves. You're not with your family all the time. You're with those guys more than you are with your family.
Yeah.
So they're like father figures to you, and they like shape you to who you are. So I owe a lot of credit to Eric and Jack and all the other Elyria coaches. Like, it's just insane.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So they've saved me time and time again, not in bad ways, but like showed me the right from wrong and what you could do and what you should do. But it's ultimately your decision.
Yeah.
And that comes down to being disciplined and knowing to take the right path. Even though sometimes you do steer off the path a little bit, but they're right there and they just bump you.
Which is okay. I mean, that 100% is part of life.
Oh,
And
yeah.
they're coaching you in such a kind of a critical point in life. Like when you're a teenager, you are learning about kind of what you want to do for the rest of you, like what you want to do in life, who you are as like a young adult, and to like have a mentor that's not just there between these hours.
Yeah.
Like I'm here for the 3 hours after your school day and on the weekend when we have practice is amazing. You got someone that's just in your corner.
Yeah, absolutely.
Through it all. And that you don't really get with football. You got 40, 50 kids out there. They only have a set few relationships with 3 athletes, and that's usually your quarterback, your tailback, and one of your star receivers.
Right.
Other than that, they don't give a fuck.
Oh, absolutely. That's the cool thing too with the coaches. 99% of the coaches knows every kid's name and has somewhat of a relationship with them.
Yeah, there's some rapport there.
Right. So you could go in and it'd be the newest kid and be like, oh, hey, how is this class going? And I'm like, how do you know that?
Yeah.
Like, I don't even know the dude's first name. I just go, hey, kid, come here, you want to wrestle?
Yep.
And it's just, that's amazing to me is that, like Eric and Jack, they can have that mindset of just being personable with every single kid and making them, not because it's their job to make them feel important. It's how they are. They're just good ass people to where they want to make sure, hey, if you need something, don't hesitate. We're here for you.
Right. We got you.
Yeah.
And that's where like I also want to just give you the credit where it's due is you went through, found great success, learned a ton about yourself, about the sport, and you decide to now go back when you can to give back to the team. It takes a special person to be a coach, like being coachable and then being able to take what you've learned and then reapply it as a coach is not easy. It's not an easy thing to do. Where did that start for you? Like, I'm going to go back and show these kids what I was able to learn.
So like after high school, I like went out and helped out a little bit before I figured out what I wanted to do and everything. Because after high school, I was kind of a little bit of a mess. You know, I went through some things where girl trouble and what I'm trying to do with college, my life, and going back to the wrestling, it helped me kind of focus on what I need to do.
Yeah.
Like I got my stuff together. I went to Lake Erie for a couple years, wrestled there, and as I was there, I was coming back and helping. And then when I was done at Lake Erie, I went back. I was like, I'm gonna give back because they helped me get through a rough patch in my life. I'm gonna keep helping.
Yeah.
And the assistant coach Jack had called me like, hey, we got this kid up here who's identical to you, and we need your help. Like Brendan Fenton. He was a freshman. He was like, you need to come in and work with this kid. So
yeah.
For 2 years straight, I was in there every single day. And it was just me and him. That dude, I was his drill partner, and because I was fresh out of college, and this dude, he was like, I don't want to go with him. Like because,
the kid, yeah.
Dude, I would push this kid. Like the pace was insane.
Taking him to the depths, like Habib talks about, taking someone there.
Dude, he had it in. There'd be times where he'd be so dead, I'd just take him down left and right, and I would have to literally pick him up to get him back on his feet, and then just beat the shit out of him.
Yeah.
But it helped him. He took 7th as a freshman, 1st as a sophomore, 1st as a junior, and then took 2nd as a senior.
Damn.
So he took what I was teaching him.
And used it.
Yeah. But it was insane, though, because it was like a reflection of myself. Mm-hmm. Seeing what he could do and what I know how to do, and the little bit that I helped him, he went to Pitt, and now he's at Kent State.
That's amazing.
Yeah, dude. It was cool.
So even in that second year, him taking first and you being there every day.
Oh yeah.
It's a huge win as like a coach, as a team. That's a huge win.
I think it helps too, me being a little bit younger, the coaches, they're not, obviously ancient, but they're getting older up in years. It's easier for me to relate to these kids, and
which is crucial.
Oh, super. If they're going through a problem, they're like not knowing what to do, obviously you don't tell them like, hey, don't do this, because it's their own decision. They have to make their own path. But you have to be a good, strong support that says, hey, this is really the wrong thing. Here's what I would do. Make it as a sense to push them in that right direction, just like Eric did for us.
Right. And that's honestly something I've learned in my lessons of not necessarily coaching, but trying to rebuild my life and then going on to like give back to treatment centers and things like that. I almost have to speak in an I situation, because if I start like saying like you, it's easy. As humans, we just shut off from that, we're like, you're like basically calling me out, or you're telling me how I'm fucking up, so I don't even want to hear it. If I just say like, this is what I've done, and hope that they can relate or it processes, it's way easier to get that point across.
It's super easy. I mean, that's a big thing for those kids though too, because when you start saying, oh, you got to do this instantly, it's like, man, I got another dad trying to tell me what to do.
And they get defensive.
Yep. Especially at this day and age, kids. It's hard.
It's different.
You got to be very gentle with them.
I've been blessed to have my brothers so young that I can almost tap into that age, like where I'm very, very good at being able to communicate with that age. And it doesn't really have much of a benefit other than being a mentor to my brothers.
Yeah.
And, maybe they're friends, but it does show that the kids need someone that they feel comfortable with and can relate to show them even a good and bad example, what to do or what not to do.
Oh yeah, because you gotta share some of your stories with them, even though you don't want to, but it pushes them, because they're like kind of on that verge of they might make that wrong decision. You're like, hey, this is what's happened to me. Yeah. You got to think twice about what you're doing, and it's still pretty cool though, because after you build that relationship with these kids, even after I still talk to Brendan almost daily. And it's just like, hey, what's up? What's going on? What's new?
Right.
But it's cool because they're succeeding after, like you were saying earlier. Elyria's got so many kids that have gone on. We got kids in Ivy League school, the Big Tens, like
it's insane.
And I'm just like, what the hell?
Doing big shit.
Went from no one going anywhere. Like you'd get a couple of guys that went somewhere, maybe did a couple years and then left. To kids graduating, like it's huge.
Yeah, and I mean, scholarships.
Mm-hmm.
You start like opening that door, and soon, I mean, colleges will use that as like a feeding ground to just pool talent into the next level.
With Eric and Jack and all the other coaches, everyone knows somebody, and that's pretty cool too, because you get to meet so many of these big coaches. Like, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, we were at Brecksville at the holiday tournament. We're all just sitting there, we're bullshitting, you know, just talking, and here comes Cale Sanderson from Penn State, like the head coach, Olympian, undefeated in college.
To just watch?
Yeah. But he wasn't watching one of our kids. He was watching Victor Voinovich from Brecksville. He's recruiting him.
Okay.
And everyone's like the whole gym just got quiet. I was like, what the hell just happened? You see this bald dude walk in. I'm like, dude, that's Cale Sanderson. That's pretty cool.
That's fucking sweet.
Yeah. But even in high school, I remember that tournament, I had came back from injury, and everyone was like, oh, Matt Canon, he's not going to do anything. He's poop. I ended up making the finals. And
showed him?
Oh, dude, I had
Fuck him.
Ohio State head coach and Kent State coach right there in my semifinals match watched me, and they talked to me a little bit after my match and stuff. I was like, this is pretty
This
cool.
is it. And that's all you can hope for. It's like it's those moments that you hold on to as an athlete, you know?
Yeah, for sure.
Like, it keeps you wanting to move forward. I mean, I've seen, I don't know if you know my buddy Richie Speisel at all. He went to wrestle. I want to say he was from Menor, and then went on. He's a few years older than you, probably like 2 or 3 years older, but went on to wrestle at North Carolina. He was a Tar Heel, and his state match, you know, like you know how it is at states, just the single mat in a stadium of people, and I was like hype for him. Same with Sheldon. Like when I watched Sheldon's state match, I'm like, this has got to be the coolest fucking thing I've ever seen.
Dude, it's intimidating a little bit.
I'm 100% sure it is.
Like, I've been on big stages, but you know, I never made it to the state finals, but I helped Brendan and help him warm up on that, and I was like, dude, I don't know how you did this.
Yeah.
Because like the second time around, he's like, like no big deal.
I've been here.
I was like, dude, I wrestled Fargo on the big stage, and I was like, you know, looking around, there's a bunch of people. I'm like, okay, this isn't too bad. You know,
still a lot of eyes, bro.
Dude, well, I did good on that match. I pinned my kid in the first period.
Yeah.
It was funny because Jack was my coach, and he's a big Iowa guy, and the kid was from Iowa. I was like, how'd you like that? He was like, oh, okay, all right, calm down. You still got a long way to go.
Humble you a little bit. No, I like that. I like that. I mean, do you have any rituals? Like when you were wrestling, did you have any rituals? I'm doing this.
I wouldn't say they were necessarily rituals, but it was kind of like a tradition that the older guys passed down to me that I kind of tried to keep going with the younger, but the kids don't do it anymore. Always had to have double socks. A black pair of Nikes and a white pair for whatever reason. Don't know why.
Like a little bit showing of both?
Yeah. And I was like,
that's
cool. And then Stevie Mitchell did it for a long time, and Cody did it, Egner did it, and I copied that. It was inside out sweatpants. Don't know why.
Oh yeah.
Still do that to this day.
With like the jailhouse look, you tuck them into your socks and shit.
And I always wore this one hoodie. It was like from H&M or something, but it was like my warm up hoodie, and that was my like ritual. Oh, I would never actually warm up. Like Eric would yell at me.
Does he just kick it until you're mad?
I would just like kind of jump around, walk around the mat, and he's like, "Hey, how about you grab Brandon and warm up?" I was like, "Oh, I'm good." Like, and they'd always be like, "Dude, you gotta warm up." I was like, "I'm sweating a little bit, kind of. It's just hot in here," and they would get mad, but I just walk out there and kind of just do my thing.
Some people like that though. Like honestly, I don't blame you. Like if that works for you, why change it?
I mean, he did have a sense to it, because when I got to college, I learned that you actually have to warm up, because if you go out there cold,
those boys will work you.
Whole different ball game.
I'm sure of that.
I mean, those dudes come out and it's like they've gone 3 matches, and you're like, oh shit, like,
whole different
how
beast.
How's this dude going? I'm like, I'm dead after the first period. But I mean, it is what it is. But back then also too, everyone, even I forget the dude's name. It wasn't Brakeman. It was Josh Lowe. He was like, oh, Elyria's got this kid, Matt Canon. He's decent, but he's just a comeback kid. Because I could be down by 10 points and literally just come back and be like, okay, it's time to pin this dude. And just pin him.
It's over now.
Dude, that's what they knew me for. I'd be down, my district finals match. I was just happy. I remember lining up in the Parade of Champions, and I forget, I was with 2 kids from Brecksville. And they're just like, oh, like, super, like, nervous and, like just intense. I'm like, dude, why the fuck are you guys intense? Like, we're going to state.
We're good.
Yeah, I was like, this is awesome. Like, I'm getting first or second. Probably second, but we're getting first or second. And I go out there, and I got taken down twice, and you hear Josh Lowe go, oh, it's time. Matt Gaines will do the comeback right here. Second period starts, and I just pinned this kid from St. Ed's, and I was so hyped because that never happens. Like everyone says they want to be a kid from St. Ed's, but it takes time to, like, figure them out and everything. But I pinned that kid, and it was, like one of the coach's sons.
Oh, Jesus.
It was Heffernan, Colin Heffernan. And I pinned him.
Jesus Christ.
I was going to point towards my mom, and the ref turns my freaking hand the wrong way. I point to the St. Ed's crowd, and I'm like, he threw his medal away too. We were up on the podium and got his medal fucking just chucked in the trash. I'm like,
who did?
Colin Heffernan.
He was big pissed.
Oh, he was pissed.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, damn, dude, that sucks. That's a nice medal.
Yeah, I'll take it.
No, Jack pulled out because he knew the family pretty well, and he gave it to his mom. But I was like, dude, that's pretty shitty. Like, you can't just be like humble about fucking going to state.
Dude, I mean, I guess in a way, like, I do get it because you have so many different personality types in sports alone, but definitely in wrestling. It is hard because mentally you have a whole team and you've trained endless hours, but when it's showtime, it's just you.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's you and whatever your corner is telling you. But even at that point, like, it's just you and your opponent.
Oh yeah.
That's some Viking shit, some gladiator shit right there, you know?
Oh yeah. I mean, my senior year, I guess, was my best year I ever had, just because literally I was like, dude, this is it. Like,
it's time to go.
Oh yeah. But I was putting on clinics on people.
That's good.
Like, tournaments where I shouldn't even been placing, I was winning them, and people are like, who the fuck is this kid? Like, just some nobody from Elyria. I'm like, yeah, that's right.
Comeback kid, bitch.
Nobody.
That's the name of the episode, the comeback kid.
Oh yeah. Dude, I had to wrestle this kid in high school. I forget his Gunner something. He went to Baldwin Wallace. He was All-American for them. Kid was blind, like legally blind. It was the hardest thing I've ever had to do, is wrestle somebody. You had to put your hands like one under, one over.
Wait, what? There was like special rules?
Yeah, which was bullshit, in my opinion.
That is bullshit.
But you couldn't break contact.
So you always had to stay touched up.
Yeah, always. So the dude was whooping my
slap
ass.
Box and well, yeah, because he knows how to fucking wrestle that way. That is 100% bullshit.
Oh,
I don't know who let that fucking happen.
Yeah, the rules.
Yeah, it's just the rules. That's who let it happen.
But my buddy who went to Barberton, Kobe, he went to Notre Dame too, but he's badass. He fights MMA and shit now too.
Okay.
He told me, he was like, yo, fuck with this kid. He's like, when he goes to line up, whatever hands he has, just put your hands on top or hands on bottom. Like, just fuck with them.
Mm-hmm.
And kid was getting pissed. He was like, he'd go like this. I'd be like, nope, both on top. He'd be like, no, you gotta go like this. And I'm like, no,
nope,
like this. And
I don't have to do anything.
But I was on the right though. As long as I was touching him, I was fine.
Did you end up whooping him?
No, so I did beat him, but like, he was beating my ass. Like
yeah, I mean, that's got to be hard, bro.
He would grab me, barrel roll me. I'm like, dude, I can't stop this. What do I do?
And you don't know how.
And Eric just looked at me in the corner. He's like, do what you do best. And I was like, all right.
Come back.
Well, I got this little move on bottom. Like, I like bait people into thinking they're gonna like turn me, and then I'll just this weird roll. I roll through, and then I just pin them.
That's what you did?
Yeah. I did that to almost like every kid.
Dude, it's good. That's honestly, and that's another reason I understand why those dudes are up there pissed off after they lose, because in their minds, they're up 10-0 or 10-1. They think like, I'm about to do him dirty. I'm about to get to 15 and we're done.
Oh yeah. And then they're like,
and then it doesn't. And then they lose after they pretty much in their mind said, I've won.
Mm-hmm.
It's gotta, to me, I'd be pissed. Like if I thought I got this in the bag and then I didn't, oh my God, I'd be pissed. I would be so fucking mad. So I do understand why they're throwing medals away and getting mad at you or getting mad in general.
It makes me happy.
Yeah, exactly. And that, at the end of the day, I care about you, not them. So
dude,
I don't care.
There was one match in high school where, like, I swear to God, I wanted to break this kid's nose so bad. And for me to say that is just like, I'm not that type of
You're
person.
not that athlete, yeah.
But it was a Strongsville kid. I think it was my senior year. Yeah, it was my senior night. Kid walks
Damn.
in, I'm on weight, and he comes in, he dropped a weight class to wrestle me.
Mm-hmm.
And he thought he was big shit because
he wanted to wrestle you?
Yeah, bad.
Weirdo.
And he thought, because he plays at districts, which, okay, you can take 6 at districts, doesn't mean you're going to state. Like,
yeah.
You get a medal, cool. He was like, walks in, 2 pounds underweight. He's like, I'm going to whoop your fucking ass tonight on your senior night. I was astonished. I was like,
okay, fanboy.
I was like, what the fuck just happened? So I went out there and I literally did everything in my power to break this kid's nose. And I didn't.
Just
but,
grinding
dude,
him
I
and
was
shit.
trying so hard.
Oh.
I'd get on top and throw a boot in, and I'd literally just, like, pretty much punch him in the face.
Yeah.
And the ref kept saying, hey, you got to watch that. Hey, I was like, all right, no problem. So I started taking my palm and just right up his nose.
Ooh.
And at the end of the day, the kid was like, yeah, I don't want to wrestle you anymore. And
You fucked him up.
I teched him.
Oh my God.
Dude, that was
Imagine
the only match I've ever been
that.
that pissed.
You go down a weight class. One, you seek out someone, right? Like you're such a fanboy. You seek this dude out. You go down a weight class. You decide to make it known that I'm here for you. I'm like some Russian Rocky Balboa shit. And then you get teched.
Yeah.
And not only that, you get fucked up while getting teched.
That's
got to be
part.
incredibly embarrassing.
Oh, I thought it would have been, right? So
Yeah.
we go up to conference, and I'm getting ready to wrestle my first match against some kid, and he had just got off the mat, and he comes up to the fucking table and just waves his paper at me like, "See you in the finals." I'm like, "You motherfucker!
Right.
I'm gonna fuck you up even more."
Yeah.
Kid ended up getting pinned in the next match, and then I just walked past him. And I was like, "What happened in the finals?" I shouldn't have said that though, because that bit me in the ass in the finals. I actually lost conference finals to some kid from Solon, but
It was the point. It was the purpose, the principle.
Man, that kid.
Damn.
Made it farther than he did.
I know.
Yeah, but I mean, still, even this day, if I seen that kid, I probably would still kick his ass.
Yeah,
He
it's
still
on site.
jerks me.
It's on site, boy. Don't let me see you in Strongsville. Well, dude, thank you for being on the episode. I know we got to wrap up. We got, you got things to do. We all got things to do. Thank you for being on.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. We secured Happy Dad, just so you know, the seltzers.
Oh shit, no. Really?
So we're thinking we're going to get you, Max, a few other guys to do a live taste test. Probably not a podcast, but
dude, I'm down.
a taste test on the vlog or something like that. So before we wrap up, you got anything you want to shout out?
Shout out to Elyria Wrestling.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
guys are doing a great job, and keep it up. Let's get it after the season,
Hell yeah. Awesome. Well, guys, thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Mind If I Crash podcast. Season 4, episode 2. We'll see you next week.